Hey everyone, I'm Camelfish. I was honestly shocked when I reached the station through the underground passage from the barren swamp. Although the fact that you can walk from the dump to the station in just a few minutes doesn't really make much sense, I was still surprised by the idea of returning to the place where the journey began. After defeating the swamp green monster, you take the underground passage. The main purpose of this section is to make the player lose their sense of direction. Then, when they see the familiar station again, they regain their bearings. There are 5 regular enemies and 1 elite enemy in total. The combination of the stairs going up and down and the 90-degree paths is enough to break the player's sense of direction. It's much clearer when you look at it from a bird's eye view. Once you come up from the corrupted water pool, you enter the station occupied by the undead. The regular enemies provide some simple filler and guidance, while the bloodstains on the ground also point toward the train cars. After dealing with the filler enemies, follow the bright lights upstairs to unlock the Stargazer. The level design around the outside of the station is very clear. 2 shortcut gates lead out from the Stargazer, dividing the exploration into 3 sections. Let's head forward first. This corridor acts as a hub and provides plenty of information. I feel like these 4 enemies slow down the pace of combat to some extent, giving players more attention to focus on the surrounding elements. There are only 5 regular enemies placed in this corridor. The poison fog area below is a small side branch with an elite enemy and a chest. This elite enemy is a genuinely shitty enemy to fight. It has both melee and ranged attacks, high poise, and the poison fog spores in the environment can continuously restore its health. This makes fighting it head-on very likely to get you corrupted. Corruption not only drains your health but also reduces your weapon's durability, making it very resource-intensive. Luckily, the chest contains a quartz, which helps balance out the risk and reward. Head up and take the other path. Then jump down from the steel beam. Take out the 2 warm-up enemies. Keep moving forward, where the lighting and enemy placement both hint at the intended path. Lies of P is actually pretty good at using environmental cues to guide the player. After dealing with the enemies, you enter the train car. It's an ambush encounter in a cramped space. The attack power of this puppet enemy is seriously high, and I'm not sure you would survive if there were 2 more of them. After exiting from the other side of the train car, there's a pickup hidden in the poison fog on the left. On the right, there are 3 puppet enemies with tentacles. Here, having 2 activated while the other remains inactive gives the player enough time to react. The conspicuous pickup and the enemies near the railing also hint that there's more to explore here. Go up the stairs to unlock the shortcut, and you finish exploring the first section outside the station. It takes around 5 minutes. Continue exploring through the newly opened shortcut gate. We encounter this shitty elite enemy again, but this time, the environment has changed from poison fog to a narrow space. There are still only 2 regular enemies, but they are much less threatening than the ones below. Come down the stairs guarded by the elite enemy, and you can now reach the pickup and enemies we saw earlier while fighting the tentacle puppets, completing the loop. Let's continue along the main path. On the right, there's another combination of poison fog and 3 poison water enemies. After leaving the side branch, the entrance to the station is blocked by luggage, so we have to find another route. On the wide plaza along the main path, we encounter a new elite enemy. The sense of oppression is pretty intense, but I ended up dragging its aggro into a narrow area. This elite enemy has relatively simple and brutal attacks, but its mechanics are new. Hitting its hard shell causes your weapon to bounce off. After taking it down, the train car on the front right leads back to the place where we first woke up. After dealing with the 2 regular enemies, we get some story information. Then head up the ladder on the other side. Unlock the second Stargazer, and that completes the exploration of the second section, taking around 10 minutes. Come down the stairs, where there's an NPC side quest inside the train car. Return to the main path, where the small branch ahead leads to another ambush encounter. It's 3 puppet enemies with air cannons and 1 tentacle puppet. Luckily, their damage isn't very high, because getting surrounded by these high-frequency, high-poise enemies could easily get you killed. Follow the yellow lights to enter the station interior. There are 4 simple regular enemies here to fill out the level. Then we return to the hall where we fought the first elite enemy. This 4th elite enemy is human. It has a high attack frequency and high poise, but its aggression isn't particularly strong, so fighting it by kiting around this spacious area is actually pretty easy. After winning the fight, we simply retrace the path we came from. The paths are all familiar, except that the regular enemies have now been replaced by undead versions. These enemies still go down in 2 or 3 hits, so they are not particularly difficult. After dealing with the dimensional butterfly, walk around the hall and you'll reach the stargazer inside the station. And with that, our return to Krate Central Station comes to a satisfying end. The most distinctive feature of this level is still the area outside the station. The 2 shortcut gates located close to the stargazers divided into 3 areas. Lorenzini Arcade also uses a design with 1 stargazer and multiple shortcut gates, but the station's layout is much clearer. This is also thanks to the square-shaped layout of the area outside the station. There are a lot of enemies in this level, but the overall difficulty is fairly low, with most of them being regular enemies. That's why many encounters add the corruption mechanic to introduce more variables. The biggest missed opportunity in this return to the station is that there aren't enough elements connecting it to our first visit. It mostly just reuses the station's architectural elements. Although the story establishes that the station was occupied by the undead after the protagonist left, I think there could have been some more distinctive callbacks. Having just 1 train car where the protagonist woke up doesn't feel like enough. Thinking about it, what if there had been a large abandoned puppet next to the station entrance at the very beginning of the game? Then, when we return here later, that large puppet could appear as an elite enemy, just like the Swamp Green Monster. Or, when the player first entered the station hall, they could have encountered a friendly human weasel. When we return here later, the weasel could have turned into a bandit after failing to find food for so long, and now wants to kill the protagonist. Wouldn't elements with this kind of clear connection between the first visit and the return make the level more memorable? Do you guys agree? See you guys next time!